Greetings technicians and my good people of the PCL. Welcome back to another episode of Top Plays and Sets for the PCL Season 4 Draft League. I was happy to see many of you guys showed tremendous support on the first video, and I am glad that you guys are enjoying the series. Last time, it did took me roughly 3 hours to make a 6-minute video, including script writing and all the editing. So hopefully this time we can speed up things around. And anyways, without further ado, let's get started on the video. For this week's honorable mentions, we have the Torkoal sets from the New York Glyskers versus the Winnipeg Waterloos in the Week 3 matchup, where Glyskers Torkoal was being able to net a surprise KO against the opposing Tapu Koko with its Custard Berry. The special defense investment allowed the Torkoal to be put in range of the berry after taking a terrain-boosted Thunderbolt coming from the Koko decently well, removing the opposing terrain setter for the Tapu Bulu. Granted, Glysker did not win the battle itself, and the swing of momentum was a little bit too late to bring him back into the match, but it was still a good play from the New York Glyskers. So for the number 5 spot, we have the Chrysopia, the Steel Savali, from the Week 4 matchup between the Pixelated Outrageous and the Juliet Jotix. Not only Brendan brought defog for hazard control on the Savali, forming a dual defog core alongside with his Mega Altaria, but an excellent choice of steel typing Savali this week alongside of his Jirachi also gave him a secondary steel type in his particular matchup to handle the Nihilego and Celesteela better. With Brendan's special defense investment and a calm nature on his Savali, allowed him to take a Furium Z from the opposing Celesteela, clutch on 2% health, then crippled it with a Thunder Wave. This removed one of the biggest threats against his remaining members. The full paralysis did come into play later down the road, preventing the Celesteela from setting up a second Autonomize. Definitely an astonishing performance from Brendan this week, both in terms of composition and preparation. At number 4 spot, we have the Week 3 match between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Red Dead Rowlets, where Lo-Fi managed to bring in his Heracross at one point against the opposing Mew. After overprediction of going for close combat against the defensive Mew, Heracross was crippled by the incoming Will-O-Wisp. But little does the Rowlets know that he has just gave the Leafeons the necessary damage boost on the Guts Heracross to be able to abuse the facade. Lo-Fi was be able to cap his rocks on the field while pressuring the opposing Mew to put in range of the Scarf Facade coming from the Heracross, allowing the burned Heracross to net a whopping 5 kills towards the late game by bringing in his Scarf Heracross, giving the Rowlets a false impression of being Moxie, and how Lo-Fi decided to play around the defensive Mew earned him a well-deserved number 4 spot this week. At number 3 spot, we have Fairy Juice the Mawile from the Week 2 game between the Victoria Victinis and the Cleveland Clefables. In this game, Mudkip Boy fully took advantage of his defensive Mawile as a defensive pivot, bringing it in multiple times against the opposing Mienshao and starting it out with a play rough, but also served well as a rocker and a support in general, keeping up rocks while removing the items from the opposing Slowbro and the Mienshao. Not only that, he also picked up a surprise KO against the opposing Katana with a Fire Blast on turn 21, despite Mawile's poor 55 special attack stat. In this game, the great execution coming from the Mudkip Boy also helped him achieve such a fantastic success in making a huge value out of a tier 5 mon. This would be higher up on the list if the Shuka Berry on the Mawile also came into play. For number 2 spot, definitely one of my personal favorites from this week's analysis, we have the Mr. Nesbit the Gudra from the game between Tosa Togedemaru and the Twitch Primates. Nate, the coach of Togedemaru's, abused the opposing rain to the fullest this week with his Hydration Gudra set. After setting up rocks with Jirachi, Nate decided to go into his Curse Gudra to set up right away. After a few curses, Nate started shuffling the Primate squad with the Stab Dragon Tail. Facing in the Pelipper, Nate then decided to bust out the rest on his Gudra, making it incredibly difficult for the Primates to break down with the squad he brought. Had the Primates not gotten a freeze on the turn that the rain was about to end with his Manaphy, Nate could have saved his Gudra even further down into the match. The dominating performance from Nate this week with Mr. Nesbitt definitely opened up the door for his Thunderous to sweep later on in the match. A well-deserved number 2 spot for the Togedemaru's. For the number 1 spot for this week's analysis, we have Angry the Crobat from the Week 3 matchup between Kansas City Kingdras and Pixelated Outrages. The Crobat served as a great pivot and a fast taunter throughout the long, tedious battle. Instead of showing you guys all the turns with the Crobat highlights, I will just summarize it up for you guys. Throughout the game, alongside of Cleric Clefable, Clutch was being able to keep his Crobat healthy, using it as an effective taunter against many defensive bulky mons from the Outrages, including the Jirachi, Mega Altaria, and the Mandibuzz, preventing them from pulling off effective recoveries from the damage that they took. The game then came down to a 1v1 matchup between the Jirachi and the Crobat. Due to the lack of coverage from Jirachi, Crobat was being able to come out on top in that matchup with a combination of Taunt and Roost, leaving the Jirachi no option but to struggle against the Crobat. Even though there were no particular turns where the set shined, but the execution and the ability to identify the win cons from Clutch did end up winning him this long and nasty war, slow and steadily. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and make sure to comment below on what your favorite set of the week is. And if you would like your sets to be featured, please do make sure to post them in the top place channel. That will probably be your best bet. I will try to go over them, the replays and the sets posted there on bi-weekly basis, and try to evaluate them to the best of my abilities. So until next time, Admin Crow here, signing off. Goodbye, technicians.